Yesterday we did not go over how to do it when you have parentheses, like a factor inside of the, or two factors inside the parentheses. We only talked about how to do this. The steps are still the same. Okay. So I'm going over how to use the square root method without parentheses, and then when it does have a set of parentheses, because it's different. It's a lot different if you have a set of parentheses, okay? So, remember, for this one, I'm trying to get my x squared all by itself. So I'm just going to highlight the x squared, because the x squared is what we need to get by itself before we can square root both sides. First question is, do I need to add or subtract anything? Yes, I need to add the 2. So let me just rewrite it. Thank you. I need to add 2 to both sides. Then I'm left with 4x squared equals what? 82. Thank you. So now there's a coefficient. That means I need to do the opposite, which is what? How do I get rid of the coefficient?
Divide by 4.
Divide both sides, thank you, by 4. Remember, my goal was to get just my x squared all alone. And 82 divided by 4. Thank you. So now that the x squared, I'm just going to highlight it all the way through. The x squared is by itself. There's nothing in front. There's nothing back here. Now, how do I get rid of this little measly old 2? That's why it's called the square root method, is because now I take the square root of both sides. And the reason why I take the square root is so I get rid of the little 2. So I'm left with x equals. Today we have our calculator, so let's talk about how to actually take the square root. If you press second, then go down to x squared. That's where our square root button comes from. It's right here. So press second, then x squared, and you'll see the square root pop up in your calculator. What am I taking the square root of? 20.5. And then my answer is either a positive or negative 4.5, round that up to a 3. Those are my two solutions. One is a positive 4.53, the other is a negative 4.53. This is what we practiced yesterday. Most people were getting the hang of it. You're going to see these start popping up today, though, because these ones, I have to get this whole set of parentheses by itself. Not just the little x squared. I have to get the whole set of parentheses by itself before I can take the square root. But the steps are still the same. Now I'm looking for, is there anything getting added or subtracted on the outside of the parentheses? You cannot do anything inside. This parentheses is locked closed because this power of 2 has locked it in. Is there anything getting added or subtracted on the outside, like back here or here? No. But there is this 4 called a coefficient. What? No, we don't want to multiply. We want to do the opposite.
Divide.
We're trying to solve it. Solving is about doing the opposite. So yes, divide by 4 on both sides. We want to get rid of it. We don't want to like mix it up in there. We want to get rid of it. So don't mix it up in there. Get rid of it. Solving is about getting rid of things to make it easier for ourselves. Just like when I tell my kids, clean up your room, get these clothes off the floor. They move the clothes to the closet. I'm like, no, we want to get rid of the clothes. Go put them in the laundry room. Like, get rid of them. Don't just move them to a new location. Well, that's fine. They can throw them away if they want to. They ain't gonna have no clothes. That's what my nieces and nephews used to do with the forks and the spoons and the knives when they didn't want to wash them. They would just start throwing them away. It's like, wow, the silverware disappearing because y'all lazy. All right, so the the x minus 2 squared, is it all alone now? Yes. So now we have to get rid of the power of 2. How do you unlock a power of 2? Take the square root of both sides. The only time you can take the square root is when the parentheses is all by itself squared. This, are you going to put this in the calculator? No, you're going to just cancel out the square root and the 2. And what you're left with is x minus 2. Well, we don't have parentheses anymore because we got rid of the square, so I won't even write that. Yes, but the square root of 20, yes, you need to calculate that. So press second, x squared, put your 20 in there, and then you get 4. I want 2 numbers after the decimal, please. Plus or minus 4.47. Because now something special happens right here. This is where the new stuff starts. Okay. Because this equals a positive and a negative, we have 2 problems we have to solve. We have to set it up. We have the factor stays the same. The x minus 2 stays the same all the way through. But first we set it equal to a positive 4.47. Then we set it equal to the negative 4.47. Now we solve. So the factor doesn't change. It's what it's equal to changes. This is 4.47. This is negative 4.47. Now how do we solve for x? Yep. Add 2 over here, because remember, solving is about doing the opposite. So 4.47 plus 2. What's 4.47 plus 2? 6.47. However, over here, it's negative 4.47 plus 2. What's negative 4.47 plus 2? Negative what? Yep. Negative 2.47. Those are our 2 solutions. Remember what a solution is? It means if I have a parabola and I want to know where it touches the other line or the other thing, it says one of them touches at negative 2.47, the other touches at 6.47. That's, remember, solutions are still solutions. We're just not looking at the picture anymore. I just want to remind everybody of that. Let's try another one. For some reason, this one mixes people up. A lot of people were still thinking you need to divide by 4 right here. Look at this one. Do we need to divide by 4 right here? No, this 4 is not a coefficient. You have to ask yourself, do I add or subtract anything first? Do you need to? Do you need to add or subtract anything? Remember, I'm trying to get this whole thing. You cannot do anything inside the parentheses until it's all the way by itself. And right now, it is not by itself. What's the opposite of plus 4? Thank you. So we got to subtract 4 from both sides. $80 take away 4. What is it, 76? Now this is all the way by itself. The parentheses are locked in. So now how do I get rid of a power of 2? Square root, square root. So the square root cancels out the squared. However, the square root of 76 is not perfect. So I don't know why I keep writing the parentheses. It should just be x minus 2 equals what? 8.7, a positive or negative 8.72. Now we have what is called the Kevin Gates method. Why is it the Kevin Gates method? Because you got two problems, one for the plus and one for the minus. What? Whenever you see parentheses, that means you have to use the Kevin Gates method at the end. You got two problems, one for the plus and one for the minus. The factor stays the same until you get to the end. We're solving still. So we add 2, we get x equals 10.72. Then we have to add 2, but now to a negative 8. And that will give me negative 6.72.